Do you see the role of artificial intelligence from now until 2030, just as an example?
It helps mathematics development,
yes,
but it's far, far away from replacing mathematics. The real important development in mathematics are conceptual outbreak that changes the whole subject. I don't believe AI can do it, certainly not at this moment. I used to say from classical mechanics going into quantum mechanics is not something AI can imagine to do, because this involves a huge amount of conceptual breakthrough that many fundamental questions need to be sorted out by human brain.
But Professor Yau, if I could, to also brief you about some latest development in the field of physics, for example. Earlier there was the belief that AI might now be able to understand the basic principles of physics unless being fed with relevant information and knowledge. And recently, though, there is one study published by Meta AI expert Yang LeQuan talking about how artificial intelligence can develop basic physics understanding through watching videos alone. So, of course, this is only one of those many studies going on, and it is yet to be proven. There could also be a lot of loopholes in any conclusion. But do you see the possibility that what you just said can be challenged in the near future by artificial intelligence?
Not in the near future. There are many fundamental questions that certainly need thinking much deeper. For example, at this moment, many physicists are thinking about how to unify gravity with quantum mechanics. This is a really 100-year-old problem. A lot of great mathematicians and great physicists are pondering about. I don't see how AI could help on this fundamental breakthrough to understand the unification. Einstein spent a lot of time to think about it. But AI could certainly, based on what we know already, develop further in the sense that we have limited amount of memory in our brain. There are many data we could not put together, but these are the old data that exists already. AI could try to learn from them. But many of these could be wrong concept also. AI may get into some wrong ideas. But in any case, they could only use some existing ideas, and they could not digest some new ideas, which may be inspired by new observation and new experiment and many different kinds of things that could be totally unexpected to human also.
As a result of that, do you see the education of mathematicians will need to be adjusted in order to better use the tool of AI for their goods, while at the same time to avoid some of the repeated quote-unquote mental labors as long as AI will be able to handle it?
We can use AI for something important, just like computer was started to be used in 1970s and 1980s. It has been very helpful, but they have not changed mathematics' own structure. It has been very useful, and I believe AI would be very useful for us. But on the other hand, large part of AI are just part of mathematics.
Right.
And we could do a lot of things to influence its development. AI is now depending a great deal on computation power. And I do not believe that is the right thing, because mathematics could simplify most of them. And this has not been done yet. And I actually personally was working on some of these problems, which I hope to resolve some of these issues. So mathematics is still a key to improve AI.
How to translate, Professor Yau, some of the latest developments in mathematics into pragmatic solutions in terms of computational power, in terms of data analysis and collecting, and also in terms of algorithms and etc. that are most important resources for AI.
Signaling information is one of them. When you deal with nonlinear signaling, there's a lot of work that you need to do. First of all, you know how to compute them, and you compute in an accurate manner. And people try, it becomes extremely complicated. It cannot be done without thinking. So we make some advance by finding out some strategy to do it. The strategy depends how you understand what the goal is. And AI learned from the previous master's strategy to do it. And you cannot just always do it because their nature is humongous. There are many, many different laws governing nature. And we have to find some good way to understand it. And this mathematics will play a role, and so is physics.
The other thing is the geopolitical influence and impact on academics. For example, how much cooperation really can be there for basic scientists to work together. The other thing is with export control, for example, of some of the key components for resources of AI, such as that by the United States toward China. What does that mean for mathematicians and basic scientists like you to take great advantage of the latest tools, most advanced tools for your academic studies?
Well, I think it's too bad that many countries are putting a barrier for knowledge to be spread around, and they feel they can corner the market by doing that. But this does not happen in that way. First of all, most works are published in regular journal. People can read it, and you cannot hide it because people are proud of what they accomplish. They would like to see other people read it. So it's very difficult to control knowledge to be spread in any case. But to not allowing people to learn some subject actually eventually is counterproductive. For example, I was told that some universities in America do not allow students, Chinese students, to study AI. I think this is a stupid movement because research is a group effort, not just one or two people. It may be there's one big hero in this whole group, but still what she accomplished was based on a large group effort by several not so famous scientists together. If you cut them off, there's no hero anymore because he's just alone. And Americans forgot there are a large number of Chinese scientists who are making serious contribution to these brilliant ideas. And if you do not allow them to learn, they could not participate. They could not participate, then you lost out your important manpower, brilliant ideas coming from these Chinese researchers. And I think just Tsinghua alone, there's a large number of PhD in America who are contributing to AI in Silicon Valley.
Absolutely. If you look at OpenAI's team, Grok 3's team, and also here DeepSeek and many others, almost every one of those have the figures of Chinese or China, Chinese origin talents there.
But it's also true, of course, our Chinese teams also learn from American teams. There's a cooperation that makes both sides advance in knowledge. And to cut them off artificially is not good for both sides. And I also would like to see many of my friends from America and from China could benefit each other by working together.
You're watching my latest interview with Professor Shing-Tung Yau, who is now working with the team of renowned Chinese mathematicians to bid for hosting the ICM 2030 in Beijing. The ICM is the International Congress of Mathematicians. It is seen as a grand platform for mathematicians from all over the world to gather for academic exchanges. Professor Yau sees great potential for the development of mathematics in China as the country becomes increasingly a hub and a nurturing ground for both established talents and also budding young scholars. Why is it so important for you and your colleagues to actively apply for China to host the 2030 ICM?
Well, there are two sides of the coin. One is from international mathematics unions. They want to encourage mathematicians, young people and all that to actively pursue the subject of mathematics. And China, on the other hand, has been increasingly actively involved in mathematical research in the last 10 years. Since last 50 years ago, China sent a lot of students to go abroad. Many of these students graduate from Western world are coming back to China. Especially in the last few years, the political situation has been complicated. So many of them feel that they are more comfortable to be at home. And besides that, China has trained their students far better now than before. We have almost, I would say, the world's best high school students and undergraduate students in mathematics. And they are able to study within China themselves. So a major event like ICM happening in China, or especially in Beijing City, it would be great encouragement for them.
How would you reconcile what you said earlier, your critical opinions over the decades, vis-a-vis what you just described as China has become a nurturing ground for best talents in the world?
What we call in Chinese, the water from Yangtze River flow from west to east rapidly, and we are moving in that way. So 30, 20 years ago, we are still slow, but in this last 10 years, with the great leadership of the Chinese government, great investment into mathematics and basic science, we are doing much better than before. And also many Chinese mathematicians who are educated in the West come back and they contribute strongly to this environment.
How would you compare what you call the internationally educated mathematicians or math talent vis-a-vis the so-called homegrown ones?
So far, most established Chinese mathematicians were educated in America or in Europe. So what happens is that they were trained here for high school and undergraduate, but they learn whatever they do in the research largely in American universities or European universities. So this is not completely homegrown. What we are looking for are trained in China and also do their research in China for the first piece of their research accomplished in China. Then we can say that we can compare. Otherwise, we are still learning from America. So I think we have the means to do it now because we formed this children's college, which now has about 700 students. And by the mature level, we would have 1,200 students. I would say the largest group of student bodies in mathematics alone. And some of them has already accomplished on writing good papers, and now they are PhD candidates. So in a few more years, I would say quite a few of them would be achieving their PhD thesis written and trained by our people in China.
A rising star in mathematicians in the world, Ms. Wang Hong, very young talent from China, has been working on what you call the Kakeya problem. I understand it's a fundamental issue in the field of mathematics, and she has been writing a very well accepted paper, now under review, but that could be a potential leading to some very serious, outstanding awards in the world. Tell us more about that. And do you see similar figures? As you say, the younger generation of talents are rising up in China.
It's a problem on the surface, a question in geometry, more combinatoric way. It was asked, almost 100 years ago, and it was puzzle to many people. But at the beginning, it was considered to be a kind of curiosity until people start to develop it into more mainstream mathematics. My friend Charles Pfefferman in Princeton, who was also a Fields Medal winner, make use of it to understand some important questions in Fourier analysis. And Fourier analysis is a very, very important subject for engineer and for physics. It tells you how waves can be composed of some fundamental waves. Okay. And how they are decomposed into these fundamental waves apparently was transformed by understanding this set. And so Charlie makes an important contribution in that way. So I think Wang make a very important step. And assuming it's true, I believe that he should deserve a major prize. And this will be the first major prize, international major prize, for Chinese mathematicians to get. She was educated from Beijing University, was sent to MIT to learn from Larry Goof. But this is achieved a great accomplishment, I would say. But still, we would like to see that some people are trained here to achieve such a major advance. And this is what we are looking for next 5 to 10 years.
If I could, I've been reading some of the latest interviews you had with the media and also some latest analysis you provide for the general public. You seem to argue now with more returnees, since reform opening up, together with the younger generation growing up in China, there's likely to be more achievements in the next 5 years. But at the same time, you also argue there is the younger generations, those are really young, for example, still in university, in their college days, plus those in Chinese high schools that have talents in mathematics are likely to be the future banks of talents in China. So how do you see these different factors work together? But at the same time, with ever more complex international backdrop, as we know, because in recent years, we've seen in terms of technologies and science, there is something called the small yard, high fence policy taken by some countries. So what is the mixture of these different factors mean for China?
We train high school, even middle school students, young students starting from 12-year-old, and we watch them transforming themselves in a fantastic, marvelous way that I did not imagine before. In the old days, they were trained by high school teachers only, and the high school teachers, largely what they care about is competitions and math Olympic and all that. But now we are trying to train them by university professors. We even have some academicians to go to teach these 12-year-old kids. And I think the result is fantastic. The students understand what is an important direction, important questions to ask, and I think in a short time, these students will grow and grow rapidly. So I hope to train more of this very outstanding talent to break through our level of mathematics.